Alright. Hello everybody and welcome to Group D, the final group of the Pigstarcraft Festival. It's a week-long tournament and, well, it's also got some circus events around it, but this is the main event, the tournament. Level play. Down here in the bottom right-hand side, we've got Kaisi Gaming Solar. The Zerg, and his opponent in the top left, it is, of course, none other than the Dark Slayer, Alpha X ZOUN. And ZOUN, his trademark, I'm not going to let you take your natural. And Solar forced to take the third. Now, this is the first match of Group D. Following it will be Raynor versus Dream. And, of course, it is GSL format, so we've got 5 best-of-3s for today, with a winner's match, a loser's match, and a decider match after that to find out who the 2 players are going to the top 8. Of course, at this point, we have tripled the prize pool to $6,900, and that is a massive, massive boost. So thank you, everyone who's been a big part of contributing towards that prize pool and boosting it. It is, of course, something where, unfortunately, guys, Solar had to give us this beautiful image of his face, but he's promised us his camera feed for the quarterfinals, as we will demand from all of the players from then onwards. ZOUN, of course, with his lovely little green screen background as well, looking handsome, looking focused, as we go into Curious Minds. So, Curious Minds, this was Solar's map pick, and there's a reason why, guys. Wide open third base. From there, he's going to walk his queens over here, and he's going to assault both the third base and the natural ramp out once with Queen Ravager Ling, assuming that ZOUN goes Stargate, that is. Now, why am I telling you what's going to happen minutes before it happens? Well, there's a very clear reason, guys, and that is... Sorry, guys, as our internet hitches quite badly there. Hopefully that does recover. But, once again, it goes to 0 there. Woof, that was a big internet oof. So if that happens again, we've had some internet issues in the last few minutes. Sorry, guys. We should be back. We will swap over to our backup connection if that keeps on happening. It just seems like it's a little bit twitchy right now. Alright, guys. So, ZOUN, as I was saying, Curious Minds, really a map where I think Queen Walk will be very effective against Stargate. ZOUN goes for Stargate, and Solar is such an expert at it. But, of course, lots of other strategies are available. Even Hydra Bane, on maps with such wide open areas, it's hard to defend. As a Zerg, you love wide open spaces because force fields aren't as good, splash damage is not as good. And it does end up making things really awkward for the players in those scenarios. Stargate is going to be finishing up in a moment. The Adept is now coming on out. And it looks like a pretty standard style on both sides. Solar not wanting to risk sending the Overlord in. And I think it's a good idea. ZOUN does tuck his Stargate in. I always criticize players for putting that Stargate out here where it's easily spotted. So this Stargate nice and far back. It's going to be hard to see. We've got Ling Speed on the way there as well. Gateway's coming in. Void Ray will clean up the Overlord, but he's going to have confirmation of that. And the Overlord will go down. Oracle behind that. Queen's on the way. Right now, not a single Spore Crawler. Solar, for those who don't know, he's sporting the Raynor portrait on his account here. Even though he's obviously a great Zerg in his own right. I think he's given a bit of respect there to the Zerg champ this year and saying, you know what? He's pretty darn good. And I'm going to pick up some of the tips from him as well. And right now, I feel like the hot play of the minute is to try and delay those spores as much as possible. You can see the Oracle's on the way across, but I think this Spore perfectly timed to finish just before the Oracle arrives. And Queen's guarding the main base, where the Spore is lacking. But you get 2 or 3 Queens out there, you're totally fine. The Oracle will come in. Will it find an opening? Goes in between the bases. It's looking for stray drones. Solar. Ah, 1 drone in the open. ZOUN will take it. Takes a bit of damage, though. Those Queens quickly shuffle over. So 1 drone, not too bad. And it's a melee upgrade. Ooh, you know what we've seen a lot more of recently has actually been Queen Ling Bane walks. Is definitely one thing. But also, just if a player is embracing the macro game, the Ling Bane run-bys are such a big part of punishing a Skytoss player. And ZOUN here, going air weapons, going second Stargate. He's going the Forge. The Forge is there for cannons. The Stargates are there for Void Rays. He's got the super quick third up. This looks like a very standard style from ZOUN. And I don't think Solar's just going to let him get away with that. Solar has always been a timing attack and sniping focused player in PvZ. And he's been doing that since the early days of Pro League in SC2, where he's been trying to take advantage of his opponent's habits and really try to study them and find the openings. Now, I often make fun of him using the brick I'm going to make Ravagers and Lings and Queens and walk across the map. I mean, there was a point where I really thought Void Ray was getting super oppressive, and then I saw Solar just kill about 100 Protoss players in a row with Queens, with Ravagers, with Zerglings, and just walking them across the map. Every online cup. If you're a Protoss player, you've come across Solar, he's looked at you, you've gone, this looks like a Queen walk, but is it? And he does it 3 times in a row and you die every single time. He's an absolute beast at it. Now, in this case, with the Baneling Nest, not necessarily the case. Could absolutely be gearing up for a macro game. ZOUN does take this third on the left side. Harder to push in here, but it's still a giant open area between those two bases. And the Baneling Nest kicking on in creep. Already spreading here across Curious Minds. And charge going to come in. Okay, so there is going to be a pretty quick ground transition. This is not going to be Sky Toss literally forever. And actually going up to 7 gateways already. Ooh, no Templar Archives yet, though. So without a Templar Archives, it doesn't look like ZOUN'S going to go a charge lot Archon attack. There we go. Templar Archives and Robo Bait. Oh, wow. And a second Robo. Everything at once. Zealots. Okay, so this seems to be this funny dynamic, right? Where Zerg makes Queens, Roaches, Lurkers, these amazing big tanky units. And the Protoss always wants Disruptors against them. But Disruptors, and especially Stalkers, what used to be always the supporting unit for those Disruptors, they're not good versus Zerglings and Banelings swarming in on top of them. And because of this, we've actually seen PvZ shift in this direction of, well, I'm actually going to make the Void Rays to kind of force you to pick your path as a Zerg, and then I'm going to go Zealot Archon for the Zerglings and Disruptors for everything else. And Trap used this to great effect in his group, and it looked really darn powerful. These Queens are already on the doorstep. Oh my god, and he gets an Observer. That's really big. Look at this. The creeps outside your base. I mean, this just feels like Solar has absolute map control. This is his map pick. He's got a Hive on the way. Is he just going to go Ultra Queen? I think Solar might. Yeah, he doesn't even have a Spire. Guys, he's just going to go Ultra Queen. Ultra Queenling Bane. He's just going to go Maskers. I'm surprised there's no Infestors. I thought there'd be like a couple of Infestors with it. But I think he's just going to say, that's fine. Queens will fight the Void Rays. Ultraling Bane will roll over everything else. There's no way you will ever be able to defend this 4th base. And as good as like ZOUN'S build seems in a standard situation, I would have looked for something a bit sharper from him here on this map. I would have looked for something a little bit more, let's upset Solar, let's catch him off. But I think usually being used to Solar being that Queen Walk aggressor, I mean, I was talking about it, maybe ZOUN was thinking about it as well. And he's sitting back, he's adding the Disruptors. The Ultra Cavern is on the way. The worker count for Solar is monstrous. He's got a lot of Ling Bane. If you can get a big set of cannon battery out there, a few big Disruptor shots on the Banelings. Disruptors actually aren't terrible versus Ultralisks either. So it'll be interesting to see how that one unravels. 10 gateways are up. ZOUN loves getting up to 10 gateways. Where a lot of players stop at 8 on 2 or 3 bases, ZOUN almost always rushes for the 10. He loves to have a lot of production at his hands, at his fingertips. And +2 carapace, Adrenal Gans, Baneling speed. Is Solar taking a bit too long, is the only question I've got to ask here. Because ZOUN's supply is catching up. Maybe space for Baneling drops? Maybe space for Lings to have just run in and tried to snipe this? ZOUN's got to be so careful about getting surrounded, but I think defensively, he might be okay. He's got a couple of Archons. There's so much Ling Bane. He needs so many more Archons to tank. And I think that's the real trick here, is Immortals for the Ultras, Archons for the Ling Bane. Archon, Immortal, has got to be so good versus. Add a few Disruptors in for the splash damage. I think it's a great compositional matchup for the Protoss, unless they get surrounded, or maybe Neuroparasited, or Blinding Clouded, or anything like that. Okay. Ooh. Oh, my lord. Okay. Just pulling in, pulling out. Baneling's walking in. Baneling speed not quite done. That very delayed on that is Solar. Apologies, guys. Getting a little bit of frame drops here on this map, so I'll make sure I fix that after this game. But, ooh. Okay, Warp Prism went in. Didn't quite kill anything just yet. Overall, units lost tab looking very, very good for ZOUN. But he's outnumbered. There's a lot of Zerg coming his way. Great! Oh, great Disruptor. Can he get another one? Okay, not a bad one. Hitting some Zerglings. He's trying to get back to the batteries, the cannons. There's not that many batteries and cannons, though. And these Ultras are going to have transfuse for days. The Disruptors are getting focused down. And there we go. One Disruptor will get a shot on the retreat. But you got to be careful. Got to stay near that battery. The Archons are tanky. Is there Immortals on the way? Still no Immortals on the way against what is such a heavy Ultra commitment. I'm amazed ZOUN feels like he can just get by with Archon Disruptor, and I guess with the Archons being tanky, maybe he can. Zealots going in on that top base as well, but the Zerglings are there. These are 2-1 Adrenal Zerglings. They are going to rip these Zealots apart. So Zealots, if they can have some Archons with them, they can do pretty well versus Zerglings. But otherwise, when they're down in upgrades, especially against Adrenal Glands, does not go well for them. The Zerglings just have such high damage that Zerglings, as long as they can get the surface area to surround, they beat just about anything. They're so high damage. Once they get that Adrenal, it's a plus 40% attack speed upgrade, which means tearing down buildings, tearing down even Archons. If they can surround them, get that surface area, they'll disappear. Zealots there, getting saved into the Prism. Prism still being annoying. The first Spire about to finish up here. And you know what? ZOUN'S getting to that latter stage. He's got 6 Archons, 2 Immortals, 3 Disruptors. Those Immortals are coming out. He's adding Observers as well. Oh, Disruptor in the open. That's going to go down. And, whoa, some big balls do land. But Transfuses, going to try to make up for that. This Queen squad with the Creep Highway here. The Queens are able to get quite far forward. Sorry, guys. It looks like Banelings tried to roll in there. They didn't find the mark. Banelings rolling in the left. Stalker warp in to kind of act as a force field there. Great micro for ZOUN here. And that is going to be a little bit of an issue. 10 probes do go down there. As we hop into this big fight over there on the side as well. The Archons, the Void Rays, having a little bit of a party. Seeing exactly what can go on. The drop in the top right is going to rotate. And we're going to see if the Archons, the Void Rays, the Disruptors trying to pull on back there. This army moving on forward. The Zerglings going to dive into that base. Ooh. But you know what? ZOUN'S defense is holding up. The Zealots are being a nuisance. Solar just cannot find the trades. He's down 5,000 in the resources lost. The Void Ray count's still good, so Corruptor swap not looking fantastic. Broodlord swap looking dangerous as well when you've only got 14 Queens to cover them. And I gotta say, where's the Spellcasters? A couple of Fungals, maybe some Abducts. I think maybe some sort of Spellcaster in here could have changed things. But Queen Ultraling Bane is actually just not working. ZOUN with a wall of Archons completely impenetrable to the Zerg. And he is just waltzing over the top of Solar. Solar, I really thought had such a good head start in the opening. The economy. But he just cannot handle this army comp, apparently. Not with what he's got. And like I said, maybe he needed to get moving a bit earlier, but it just felt like ZOUN was solid at every turn. His Disruptor shots have been great. The Immortals are now acting as this beautiful eradicator of the Ultralisks, and a fantastic Game 1 victory for ZOUN. Alright. Going into map number 2 in this best of 3, and I thought a fantastic start, a really cool game plan. The Queenling Bane, but just could not find a way in. Let's see if he changes it up in game number 2. It's Solar. And down in the bottom left side, in the blue, representing Alpha X, it's ZOUN. It's going to be, once again, that early probe across the map that ZOUN loves. And, you know, it's fascinating to me because I was like, man, these Ultras are scary. And ZOUN, I think, just showed exactly where Ultras suck. And that is when a Protoss does not push forward, right? ZOUN, he's like, no, I'll poke forward, drop a Disruptor, pull back to the choke, pull back to the choke. And I feel like Ultraling Bane, those melee armies in general, they look so much stronger when they're able to surround an army, when they're able to hold it in position. You step on creepers, ZOUN in that last game, Solar probably looks like an absolute god, but I mean, ZOUN pushed on, cleared a bit of creep, immediately pulled back, and maybe Solar could have split his army up, maybe he could have hit multiple areas at once, maybe, you know, gone for a drop here or there, whether it be Baneling drop or some Zergling elevators, but definitely felt like ZOUN shut down a lot of those options. That's why I was thinking, you know, maybe Fungal, like 2 unupgraded Infestors. Just so when ZOUN steps forward, bam, you land 1 Fungal, he can't retreat. Ultraling Bane suddenly looks fantastic, that sort of thing, but we saw that just Ultras, just Lings, just Banes. Well, Archon, Disruptor, pretty good versus Ling Bane. And apparently just add some Void Rays, add some Immortals, and the Immortals, the Ultralisks, go down pretty hard as well. Solar going to come out here. Looking for the quick third base is something that ZOUN does not want to let happen. But he's just going to transfer on over there and have a chill time of it. And we've seen so much of this. I feel like recently, probably because I haven't been casting any Rogue. Rogue, unfortunately, declining to play this event. He's one of the few guys who cheeses a lot, right? At a top level, he's one of the few Zergs who's regularly doing it. I think if you get like a Dark versus Zest matchup, you'll often see a bit of the Zerg cheese come out as well. But in this matchup, right now, Solar loves to open Standard and Solid, and he does this against Terran as well. Not too many cheesy openings out of him. He is a macro beast, but maybe not the late game god in this matchup. I think that style in the last game looked like he definitely wanted more momentum to be rolling over his opponent with just masses of Lingbane Ultra. And we didn't really get to see it come around, so a disappointing game one, small adjustments, or a complete turnaround, going back to maybe his sneaky Spire style that he loves with the big round of mutas. I remember when we first looked at this map, we thought, hey, these third bases are so far away, Queen Walk will be really strong here. But it hasn't really happened, and I think it's just because the map is so massive. It takes so long to get across here that it hasn't come about. And the Adept going to come forward, see if he can grab a lazy drone out in the middle ground. See, there's 2 Zerglings and a Queen up there. 2 Zerglings and a Queen here. Perfect positioning from Solar so far. Nice Spore trick. Oh! ZOUN moved right up on that second drone, so it wouldn't have had any room to put down a Spore. But he wasn't able to get the extra shot off, and does just damage them, forces a Spore trick. Not the end of the world. Glaive Adept's coming out. Ooh! Okay, very fast Glaive Adept follow-up, guys. That's even before starting the Oracle. So he's delayed his Oracle by a few seconds just to get that Twilight down. Still needs to build the Oracle, because if you only build 1 Void Ray, it's blatantly obvious that you are going to be going into some sort of exceptionally fast tech. So Solar's going to have his eyes open, and you need to show him this Oracle to pretend everything's normal. Look at me. But already, this third base is a few seconds late, and that might arouse suspicion. Something that I notice is if a Protoss is just building Stargate units, that third base almost always is down before the 4-minute mark. But in this case, 4 minutes and 5 seconds, just a few seconds later. And it does mean something. It means that Twilight Council got snuck in beforehand. Glaive's already on the way. And I expect 3 more gateways. No, just 4 gate Glaive Adept's pretty standard, actually. He's already got 2 in the wall. And he takes the gas at the front. Why? Because a Zergling could run forward and see that. So he wants to show the gases to make it look more like a Stargate-focused build. Oracle not finding any way in right now. You can see no Spore in the main, though. So he's very open there, actually. There we go. He's going to move 2 Queens up there. 1 Spore in the natural. 1 in the third base. Melee going down again. Now, melee Zerglings can technically deal with Glaive Adepts, but it's a wise idea to build that Baneling Nest as well. Baneling's going to force the Adepts to spread out, fan away from the Baneling Splash. Otherwise, they will get taken out. And I think the Baneling Nest might just barely be in time. Adepts building up in the main base right now. ZOUN'S going to commit quite hard to this. I imagine he goes across with probably about 14 Adepts. Maybe he goes across right now, actually, with just a 10. He's already got Glaives so quickly, but he's trying to hide it for now. I'm surprised his Void Ray hasn't pushed the Zerglings back, tried to deny vision. He's warping in some more. He's going to shade to the left. Solar sees it. Oh, Solar's Zerglings are so active. He sees it on this side of the map, and he's already got the Baneling Nest done. So he can morph Banelings at home. Look at that. Bam. Morphs a few Banelings. Doesn't have much money, but even just 5 or 6 Banelings, this is not going to really find any damage. So ZOUN'S attack, it's a pretty big investment. It's not going to find much. He's going to move a Void Ray on the right side. Maybe he damages this hatchery. If he kills the 4th base, obviously that's more damage than you could even really expect. Oh, the Adepts seeing the Banelings, he immediately runs away. ZOUN'S like, no way, dude. Void Ray is starting to work on that hatchery, but the Queens are well positioned. The Void Ray might work around. There is an Overlord up there as well. Oracle here, still alive and healthy. 4 sentries warping in. Okay, interesting. ZOUN. I think we're going to see Blink Stalker this game. He's going Robo Bay, 4 sentries. And I would expect to see Blink and just that kind of Stalker Colossus style, maybe straight to Disruptors, since he's a fan of that, but definitely going into the ground, and Blink indeed does start up, so I'm going to see him utilizing some of the choke points on this map, dropping force fields and then maneuvering around and dropping those balls on the face of the opponent. Solar going for double tech. He goes Infestation Pit and Spire, neither of which is spotted by that Revelation. Sounds a little bit blind right now. To be fair, both options are open. He sees both gases on the 4th, so he knows, okay, this could be a big muta swap. This could be a quick hive. There's a lot of different options, and that Oracle will need to swing around and get more info. Right now, 66 Zerglings on the map. You've kept your Glaive Adepts alive, which are a fantastic force for dealing with small numbers of Zerglings. They're not a good unit as the game goes on in terms of scaling, which is why we might see ZOUN split these off either as a pack or into little squads, and try to go across and shade into the mineral lines and find the damage. Right now, this Observer gaining massive info, but Solar... Oh, he sees it, but immediately ZOUN responds. Great awareness by him. Gets that Observer out of there before the Queens come in. 14 Mutas, and it is indeed going back to the Mutalisk style. And I love that choice. Game 1 did not work out with the Ultras on your map pick. You're here on ZOUN'S map pick, a giant map, and 15 Mutas at once. ZOUN does not have the info that he needs. And the thing is, I mean, normally you see so many Zerglings, no Roaches, you're like, well, surely it's Mutas, right? So he should kind of know. But he's doubling down on Colossus production. He's going to rely on Blink, which is a very kind of average response for it. Mutalisks are going to be able to obviously be defended at first. But Cannon's battery is going to be needed to support that. And he will build a few Phoenix as well. I actually think with this economy, Solar could maybe go full Muta Corruptor. And just overwhelm the Phoenix with Corruptors. Mass Muta up to that point. He's being real cautious so far. That's a lot of Mutas. I don't think he's got to be that cautious. There we go. 2-shot and a Stalker. Blasting down the cannon that's going up in the mineral line, trying to just stay away from the shield battery. The Lings on the right get aggroed by the Colossus. The Stalkers there are going to beat back those Mutas so far. 2 Mutas have fallen, 7 probes, 2 Stalkers. Not too bad for Solar. He's got the money to replace these Mutas at a very rapid rate. Oh, that's some great snipes. 13 probes. Forces the battery overcharge out and pulls back. He's not diving into the base. He's playing this really cautiously, making sure those Mutas cannot get surrounded by Stalkers. Hive, Evo Chamber on the way in the main base. The Muta's getting up to 17 plus probes. A Phoenix goes down. And those Mutas just picking off things over and over. He's just going to work this angle. He says, hey, yeah, how's Blinkstalkers going as a response to these Mutas, mate? I can stack up. I can one-shot your units. The Muta regen is fantastic as well. For those who don't know, Mutas regen very quickly compared to other Zerg units. And the Lings are going to come in as well. If you don't focus fire as ZOUN, then your Stalkers will just waste time attacking Zerglings. He's focus fired really well, but the Colossus are not there. The Colossus were up to the top left. He was not expecting Solar to bust in like this. The Colossus finally walked down, but they're too late to the party. These Phoenix desperately trying to micro the way away from these Mutas. The Mutas still picking off things, Adepts, other units coming on into the base. The Zerglings are a bit of a throwaway at this point. Solar does not care too much about them, but he trades a lot of Mutas. Oh, he's going to kill even more probes. ZOUN with a bit of a mistake there. The Mutas, of course, keeping him occupied. They dive on the Phoenix. And those Phoenix, you can see, they're definitely a bit worse for wear. They've all been bruised up, battered. A few of them have their wingtips about to fall off. Their ion cannons are basically smithereens at this point. Zerglings in the top left going to go for this base as well. And a few Colossus will get up there, but not before big damage is being done. Still Zerglings in the back as well. Colossus going to clean up a few. But Solar, he's already poking back in with the Mutas on the right side. And he's swapping into Ultras behind this. You know what Ultras wreck? Stalkers, Colossus, Phoenix, and Sentries. Why? They crush force fields, so Sentries aren't useful. Phoenix can't pick them up because they're massive. Colossus do jack all damage to them. Stalkers aren't that great versus them. This is an amazing setup for Solar. And yet he's still finding more damage even now with just Muta Zergling. Does lose a bunch of units, but check it out. Lings in the top left. The Oracle desperately trying to hang on. I don't think that's going to survive. The Lings in the main fighting against the Adept Warpin's desperate attempts to hang on. And it looks like that Nexus may barely survive. Phoenix are chasing the Mutas down. In the units lost tab, we see Solar has not been cost efficient. And ZOUN thinking about doing one big counter push. He's like, my economy is absolutely crap. I got to go across this map and do damage right now. Solar's maxed out though. 6 Ultras on the way. Chitinous Plating, Carapace. Lingbane Muta as well, all looking rather nice. The Mutaling goes for a counterattack. He says, you sure you want to all in into me, buddy? The Phoenix Micro is so good for ZOUN. He's kept those Phoenix alive through thick and thin. But Ultras, as I said, do not care about force fields. And ZOUN, he sees the Ultras. He should know that he's dead. Those Ultras are going to ruin him. Oh, Stasis actually force fielded some of the units, but ZOUN swarmed over. Solar tying up the series 1-1. Switch up at the styles and the Sneaky Spire, or in that case, not even so sneaky, but just the big round of Mutas, one of Solar's best strategies. Up here in the top right-hand side, in the red, it's Kaizy Gaming Solar. And down here in the bottom left side, representing Alpha X, it's ZOUN. ZOUN, once again, does not like Zergs taking their natural expand. ZOUN does not like that at all. ZOUN is definitely a fan of blocking it, and you see Solar knows this. Has already clicked the drone to the third, says, I know I'm taking the third base, that's fine. I really like that Solar takes this third as well. I think I prefer it to the front one. It just takes the Protoss a lot longer to get there. This base is so far forward, and it still has a not terrible choke leading into it, you know? It's also hard to flank their army when it's there, whereas this side, I feel like it's a bit easier to come in and come in from behind. Even all the way around the left is not the worst possible angle. Gate and gas comes down behind it. Now, I think obviously that last game, ZOUN was not playing the same style, right? He was playing a Stalker Colossus, very Robo-Bay focused style. The mutas look good against that, right? Now, was that reactive from Solar before he knew that? I think he definitely was scouting. Obviously, you can't really deny it as well there. It was 1 Void Ray, 1 Oracle. And if anyone in chat speaks Korean, please do translate for us. Let us know what they're saying. We don't have a Korean commentator with us today. Inu will be joining us tomorrow. So, we'll give you guys an update on exactly what is going on there. According to Twitch chat, the most reliable translatory source. So, maybe some Kappas involved. We'll see. Did you veto Berlingrad and Altaris? And ZOUN says, yep. Yes, I did, mate. So I think Solar's like, wait a second, why are we playing this map? Like, are we playing the correct one? Yeah, Solar vetoed the old maps. He voted 2000 Atmospheres and Blackburn, which was really interesting. Stargate is on the way once again. So it was Void Ray into Quick Glaive Adept with an Oracle, right? Last game. And then just straight into Blink and Colossus. And he didn't really find the damage, right? Solar scouted the move out. The move out didn't feel particularly crisp as well for ZOUN, but he didn't even try to hide it by, say, sending a Void Ray out there or anything like that, which is a big issue. So it really is one of those kind of things where I look at it and I'm just like, hey, wait a second. You know, was the build a bit off for ZOUN? Was it a bit late? Or was Solar just super prepared? Because it didn't feel like he played crazy safe, and yet he just saw it coming. He already had plenty of Zerglings, and I mean, I guess the Baneling Nest is one of the more elegant solutions to a delayed Glaive Adept timing. Because it's so mobile, the Adepts can't really dance around the way they can against a medium number of Roaches. Speedlings moving across the map, looking around. Void Ray spotted, so this is where Solar gets confirmation of exactly what he's up against. 4 Queens on the way. And we've got more and more Queens coming on out here. Void Ray's moving forward. Shield Battery, okay. ZOUN a little worried about getting Speedling all in on this map. That's interesting. Just a bit of extra safety. And I guess this does heal to over here. So your Void Rays can kind of be defending the third and pull back to it, and it still can get battery overcharge. So you can fight with your Void Rays in this whole area while getting healed, which is super cool. +1 air weapons immediately. ZOUN says, back to Sky Toss. Nope, the depths didn't work. Back to Sky Toss. We're doing it. We're going to go lots of Void Rays here. Now, obviously, there was a ground transition, but definitely wants to go for the heavy Void Rays to secure that third base, that fourth base situation. Evo Chamber on the way for Solar, and he saw that, didn't he? So he's going to know, hey, this is just Solar's standard build. He's going to start melee. He's going to be getting a lot of Zerglings. He wants to play this style. Stasis Trap comes in. Not really going to achieve much there. 1 drone. Ooh, Solar. Too greedy. Goes back too early. Gets 3 drones caught by it. Of course, they don't die. They go back to mining after about, I think it's like 20 seconds. So it's not the end of the world. Zerglings will move down the right side. Robo, as well as Forge on the way. So this is the setup you need to get those Disruptors to defend the Queen Walks. Cannons, batteries, Void Rays, Disruptors. And that's a scenario to disincentivize Solar from Queen Walking. His favorite strategy, which so many Koreans have practiced so much against that I think they have a begrudging respect to the point where they know they have to play safe against it, but he doesn't pull it out as much because it is so darn predictable. Oh, that shield battery is going to go down there, and that is part of his wall off. Those Adepts can get surrounded, but not enough Zerglings to follow through. And the Oracle turning around there immediately. 22 Zerglings on the way, and a Baneling. This is a lot of Zerglings, guys. Oh, he's doing a Dark, but he gets spotted. Oh, no! Oh! Okay, so for those who don't know, doing a Dark is where you're planning to just do a random, like, 50 Droneling Bane attack, and it's not really effective because they have air units out. It's a really bad idea on paper, but Dark makes it work because he hides the Ling move out. Wait, no, he's doing it with the Queen Walk. Oh, it's even different. Sorry, guys. No, this is the Queenling Bane Walk. Oh my gosh, that is 8 Queens moving out and a lot of Ling Bane. Oh my. That is a very weird scenario. He's only got 3 Adepts, does ZOUN. He's only got 2 Gateways as well. And that number of Banelings, they're so good for busting batteries and cannons. So, I mean, as ZOUN, this front of the base looks really weak, but he's got pretty good spread on some of these buildings. I gotta say, Banelings in the middle could still bust a bunch of them. The Queens take forever to get over here. He's doing nothing but rallying Queenling Bane. Solar going all in map 3 against ZOUN. Queens walking forward. Okay, that's a lot of Banelings. Stasis Trap does well. He's got to focus the Banes. He's not really doing it. Ooh, ZOUN. Oh, the Banelings got stuck. The Banelings got stuck. Did you guys see that? They all derped out. They thought they could get through this gap between the Zerglings, but they couldn't. And all the Banelings just waddled back and forth, spasming like absolute donkeys. They did almost nothing. There's so little they did there. And honestly, the Stasis Trap there, an absolute hero in holding on. The Void Rays, though, will they be enough? They're so outnumbered. There's more Banelings behind that. He's got to get rid of the battery. The Banelings need to get rid of the battery. And they will. The battery depowered. Banelings in the mineral lines. The Queens pushing back the Void Rays. More cannons on the right side. Those cannons, incredible damage output. Another Void Ray falls. I think that's 2 that have gone down. 2 Void Rays have fallen so far in this fight. Queen Walk, very good, but those cannons on the right side are unengageable. Solar knows this. Solar may need to rotate to the left. 2 cannons and batteries there. This is being held. ZOUN's done it. ZOUN here, falling back unless the Banelings can crack the right side. He focuses 3 of the Banelings before they're in range. 1 Baneling hit 2 cannons out of 5. That is a disaster for Solar. His Banelings cannot get in range. ZOUN's just too good at microing. Every time those little waddly boys come in, he just retargets his Void Rays. They go down. He does lose a Void Ray. A little unfortunate. But look at the Baneling focus fire. Once again, he kills 4 Banelings without them getting in range of the cannons. This whole build operates on Banelings clearing the static defense. Queens clear the Void Rays. Lings do the rest. He's not letting the Banelings do their job. ZOUN, the man who says blow up on someone else's base, dickhead, get out of here. And Solar, he's stuck. He's still massing Queenling Bane. He is making a 4th base, but he's got to get rid of more probes. He's got to do more damage. And you know what? Like, I do think there's a chance maybe for Solar, but with Immortals coming out, more sentries, more units, the Void Ray count growing, he kills a Queen. The Queens are out of energy. And that's very dire. He's going to get rid of the Banelings again. Another focus fire on the Banelings. Only 2 Banelings get through the gauntlet. Another focus fire. And this is just absolutely insane. ZOUN's micro with those Void Rays is just too good. Solar's Banelings. I mean, you think, you know what? In this chaos, normally the Banelings get through and find the connects. But the Void Rays don't care. They don't need to run away from the Zerglings. The Queens are not a scary enough threat to really shove the Void Rays way back. Not unless the Queens move into the cannons. They're not able to do that. And what we end up with is a bunch of triumphant Void Rays, bruised but not defeated, above a field of dead Zerg. Round 2? Oh no. Well, that looks kind of desperate at this point, I think. Another layer of cannons and batteries layered behind the Nexus. Solar, he's in too deep. He can't pull out now. He says round 2? Maybe? 9 Void Rays versus 12 Queens, but only 6 of them are here. The other Queens waddling their ways across this map. I'd love to see that creep spread forward a bit. Maybe bring a few Overlords to take a dump, get a bit of a highway going. And we've got the Nexus over there in the bottom right side as well. And, oh man. One Bane over there. The Queens coming on forward. Ooh, okay. Honestly, sentries, you've got a Mortal on left that is a Disruptor. He's even got a Disruptor. It hits 2 of the Queens, puts them in the red. Transfuse says, nah, back here, green and healthy with those Band-Aids. The Adepts are nowhere to be found. Where are they? There's 4 Adepts. I think they're all on the left, maybe. The Banelings. No! No way! Oh my god, the Disruptor to end all Disruptors. A Protoss's wet dream, a Zerg's nightmare. Absolutely savage. ZOUN'S, stop. That is just cruel, mate. Oh my lord. Oh my, I'm gonna watch that shot again, I think, in a moment here. Of course, ZOUN there, very triumphant. Fantastic play, gets the 2-1. And, Wow, wow, just wow. That was such a cool way for that to finish. So, I think we can maybe watch that shot one more time here, guys. Oh my gosh. Oh, GG. Very well played. And with that, ZOUN does take it.